But look, we've alluded to it. We've gone right into it. We got our guy here, Chris White, who's going to be joining the show a little bit later. But right quickly, before we get him on here, you got to ask this question. I mean, their defense is scary. Saquon, I've said it, my opinion, NFL MVP. Does Philly scare you, Will?
Yes, they do, because individually, the individual matchups are scary. The idea of Saquon destroys the Washington football franchise when he plays them. He did it for the Giants. He's done it in both games for the Eagles. And A.J. Brown is not really guardable. Lattimore did a pretty good job against him in D.C., but, and Devontae Smith is tough to keep up with. So individually, they've got trouble. They bring some difficult matchups. Their pass rush with their defensive line, every year they draft a doggone defensive lineman. And so it seems like it
from Georgia.
From most of the time from Georgia, if they can, that brings some problems, because while the offensive line has played, I mean, you could downright say our offensive line has been stellar this season compared to what we thought they were going to be. They're not great overall. But again, Philly brings up individual matchup problems. And so, do they scare me a little bit? Of course. Mm-hmm. However, why are they always in close games? Why did they let the Rams have the ball towards the end of the game with a chance to take the lead? What's going on there? And there's another thing I'm going to ask. I'll have to ask Chris about, what's going on with Jalen Hurts? Is he who Philly really wants to be taking snaps?
Yeah, so, I think that's the real question.
Yeah, I mean, so I'll say, there's things about Philly that absolutely worry me, but I'm also kind of wondering why are you not putting people away? If you have this great roster, why are you not putting people away?
And that's the thing.
Chime in.
Right, yeah, and that's what Ab was saying. He said, no, Philly doesn't scare me, but the weapons do. And I think that's what it comes down to. We know about A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. We know, obviously, about Saquon. That D-line is crazy. Darius Slay, I mean, we've gone back and forth with him year after year. But I gotta look at who they've played. I gotta look at this year, some of the games they've struggled in. They haven't been blowing teams out. And to your point, I've seen a lot of Philly people in-house say that, Hurts, he's good for what he does, but he's not their ideal guy. And I don't get that. First and foremost, you literally have a play that nobody else in the league could run that gets you 2 yards, even without Kelsey at center. Okay, your O-line is incredible. And even if you just wanted to hand off to Saquon 50 times a game, that would still be good. But I am telling you, and like I've said to you about the last game that we played in Philly, I mean, it was a great comeback, and everybody thinks about that. But I think we tend to forget that Philly went up, 21-7 in that game? Mm-hmm. Saquon had over 100 yards in that first half. They were handling us for the good part of that game until Hurts goes out. So at the very least, Hurts is kind of a glue to that team. He's kind of what helps them go. And just that threat of having him in there, I think that's one of the things that also helped Washington, is that when you have that threat of Jaden running, now I can run a read option. I can run a misdirection and go to B-Rob. And now B-Rob's going the other way. And because they're keeping their eyes on Jaden, you saw a couple times they had 1 or 2 spies on Jaden just to see if he came out the pocket. If you can run off of that and use him as a decoy, like what Philly does, that's huge. Now, Saquon don't need any help. Let's be very, very honest. But if I got to think just for a second, is Hurts going to take this and run himself because he can do it? Then yes, that little bit right there scares me. But we beat them. We talked about that. And yes, the game was a little farther apart in the first one, but we did end up kind of coming back a little bit. But when I look at these guys, he says, I'm hitting Hurts and test that ankle. Oh yeah. Put in that work. I think the biggest thing that scares me about this game is what weather we have. And I know you had mentioned it's going to be 44 and we probably won't have the whiteout like we had last week with the snow and everything like that. But in my opinion, this game is going to come down to efficiency, who's holding on to the ball, who's catching the ball, turnovers, who's not creating them, or who's not committing them. And it's going to come out down to those things like that, because as we've seen, we don't need to punt. I think we punt one time in this postseason. Tress, you're getting your holiday, man. Hopefully we can take it all the way to New Orleans, but we'll see. But we don't. I mean, I feel like, to be quite honest, like we have the team that can do it. But I think there's some things that we just come together. I kind of lost where I was going because I'm trying to read some of these comments. So I'm gonna send it back to you real quick while I look at the comments.
Well, I think kind of what Anton's saying here right now is they're kind of hyping up. Fox is hyping up. This is round 3, but each of these games has been so different. That first game against Philly, we were coming off an emotional loss to the Steelers. It was 4 days later. Then boom, we were playing them. We were banged up. Jaden Daniels still was dealing with his rib injury. He was not the same runner that he is right now. And our offense was terrible. Then, like you said, when they came to DC, we knocked Hurts out for that concussion. And that changed the way we had to play defense. We made adjustments and we were able to stop Saquon. But again, like you said, there wasn't that threat of those read options where now that we're going to have there. Because I think it's exactly what Anton's talking about here. Philly will be a problem is Jalen can use his legs. And I think this is where what Philly fans are getting frustrated with Jalen is he's not the passer that they think that he should be in his third year, fourth year. I think it's fourth year in the league. But he is a tremendous threat as a runner. That's what he did before he got hurt. And so what Markel's talking about with the ankle, that's going to be a big deal, is how healthy is that ankle? How healthy is he as a runner? Because, I mean, the key pretty much is going to be make him beat you through the air.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Ab said play calling. We got to beat him with our play calling. And what's up, Janae's in the comments saying, boo, team that's out hater. Yeah. Do you have a coach yet, Janae? Do you have a coach? I don't know. She's a Cowboys fan.
Does anyone want to come to Dallas?
Nope. Dion ain't coming. Please don't come, Dion. Oh, man. But yeah, I mean, and look, at the end of the day, yes, the pieces are, and above all, elephant in the room, Saquon. You got to start and finish there. That's where they start and finish. You have to stop that run game, period. You've got to shut him down. He has gotten over 150 yards on us both times. I think he ended the second game that we played with 170, and he started out with 100 in the first quarter. So you got to stop that and then win in the trenches. You got to figure that. Those are the things that, yes, scare you, but with how we've been game planning, with how these guys have kind of come together, and the coaches, you're going to talk about adjustments later. It's kind of like, yeah, it scares me, but let's go. I mean, I'm ready. I just feel like these guys give you that kind of confidence where it's like, we've gone up against these big walls. We've gone up against these big things. But the fact that there's that familiarity with these guys, and it's like Nick was saying last night on the roundtable, there ain't nothing that we're going to show them that they haven't already seen, and there ain't nothing that they're going to show us that we haven't already seen. And that familiarity in the divisional foe, I think that's going to make this game a tight one all the way down to the end, man.
I'm with you.